Have you ever been praised for being the perfect child? The one who never threw tantrums, always got straight A's, and seemed to understand adult problems long before you could even tie your shoes? In many cultures, understanding or mature is the highest compliment a child can receive. But what if I told you that being a good child isn't always a sign of healthy development? Often, it is a silent SOS, a survival mechanism born out of necessity. When a home environment is unstable, whether due to a parent's addiction, mental illness, or constant conflict, a child's brain makes a split-second executive decision. I cannot afford to be a burden. To survive, you learned to shrink yourself. You learned that your needs were secondary to the emotional stability of the adults around you. This is called parentification, an invisible wound where the roles are reversed and the child becomes the emotional caretaker of the parent. You weren't born wise beyond your years. You were forced to grow up because it wasn't safe to be a child. You traded your playfulness for hyper-vigilance and your curiosity for compliance. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of the good child syndrome. We will explore why your greatest childhood strength has become your heaviest adult burden. Before we move on, I want to ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were wearing a mask of perfection while crumbling inside just to keep the peace? If you've ever had to suppress your true feelings to be the good one, please leave a 1 in the comments below. It's a small sign to let us know you're here and you're ready to start this journey of understanding with us. This isn't just a trip down memory lane, it's the beginning of your liberation. The good child lives by a strict, unwritten code. My emotions are dangerous. Think back to your childhood. When you were sad, angry, or scared, what happened? If expressing those feelings led to a parent's breakdown, a cold shoulder, or an explosion of anger, you quickly learned that your emotions were trouble. To maintain the peace, you began to perform. This is what psychologists call the false self. The false self is a curated version of you, polite, high-achieving, and endlessly patient, that you present to the world to ensure you are loved, or, at the very least, safe. But while the false self is winning awards and earning praise, your true self, the part of you that has raw needs, messy emotions, and boundaries, is pushed into a dark corner. You became a master at reading the room. You could sense a shift in your mother's breathing, or a slight tension in your father's jaw from a mile away. This hyper-attunement is exhausting. It means you spent your formative years looking outward rather than inward. You never learned to ask, "What do I want?" because you were too busy asking, "What do they need from me?" Over time, this disconnection creates a profound sense of emptiness. You might look successful on paper, but inside, there's a nagging feeling that no one actually knows the real you. Because how could they? You've spent your whole life making sure the real you stays hidden behind the fortress of being good. The tragedy of the good child is that the survival skills which saved you at age 8 are the very things sabotaging you at age 30. In the workplace, you are the one who stays late, takes on extra projects without complaining, and never asks for a raise because you don't want to be difficult. You have a pathological fear of conflict. To you, a disagreement isn't just a difference of opinion. It feels like an existential threat to your safety. In relationships, this manifests as extreme people-pleasing. You are a chameleon, shifting your personality, hobbies, and even your values to match your partner's. You're terrified of disappointing people. When someone treats you poorly, your first instinct isn't to get angry. It's to ask, "What did I do wrong?" Or, "How can I fix them?" You've become so used to being the emotional anchor for others that you don't even realize you're drowning yourself. Furthermore, the good child often struggles with a crushing sense of guilt. You feel guilty for taking a day off or for saying no to a request. This is survivor's guilt. You feel that if you are happy, you're somehow betraying the suffering of your family. If you're finding this analysis helpful and starting to see the patterns in your own life, please take a second to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more content like this to help everyone on their path to healing and self-discovery. You are stuck in a cycle of overfunctioning and burnout. constantly chasing an invisible gold star that never arrives. You are waiting for permission to exist without being useful, but that permission must come from within. Trauma isn't just a story we tell. It's a physiological state. When you spend years suppressing your anger and anxiety to be the good child, those emotions don't just disappear. They go into the body. Dr. Gabor Mate often discusses how the chronic stress of self-suppression can manifest as physical illness later in life. When you cannot say no with your mouth, your body will eventually say no. For you, through fatigue, chronic pain, or autoimmune issues. A child in an unstable home lives in a state of high alert. Your nervous system is constantly scanning for threats. Even though you are now an adult in a safe environment, your body might still be stuck in fight, flight, or freeze mode. This is why you might feel an intense jolt of anxiety when your boss sends a message saying, "Can we talk?" Or why you feel physically ill before a social gathering. Your body is reacting to the ghost of your past. This chronic activation of the stress response wears down the brain's ability to regulate emotions. You might find yourself having emotional flashbacks, sudden waves of intense shame or fear that seem disproportionate to the current situation. You aren't overreacting, you're reacting to a lifetime of stored tension. Understanding that your good child behavior is a physical habit of the nervous system is crucial. It's not a character flaw. It's a biological adaptation. Healing, therefore, isn't just about thinking differently. It's about teaching your body that the war is over and it's finally safe to relax. So, how do we break the cycle? How do we stop being the good child and start being a whole person? The first step is the most difficult. You must grieve. You have to grieve the childhood you never had. You have to mourn the fact that you weren't allowed to be messy, loud, or demanding. It is okay to be angry that you had to be the adult when you were still a child. Giving yourself permission to feel that anger is the beginning of reclaiming your power. The second step is practicing productive disappointment. Start small. Say no to a minor invitation. Express a slightly different opinion than a friend. Watch as the world doesn't end. You will realize that the people who truly love you don't require you to be perfect. They want you to be real. You must learn to set boundaries, not as a way to push people away, but as a way to keep yourself safe. Remember, no is a complete sentence. Finally, you must reconnect with your inner child. What did that little version of you love to do before they had to become a caretaker? Was it drawing, dancing, being silly? Bring those elements back into your life. Allow yourself to be inconvenient. Allow yourself to be flawed. You spent the first half of your life making everyone else comfortable. Spend the second half making yourself happy. Which of these good child behaviors do you recognize most in yourself today? Is it the inability to say no, or the constant feeling of guilt? Share your story in the comments below. Your vulnerability helps others realize they aren't alone, and it's the first step toward our collective healing. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the psychology of you. You've been good for long enough. It's time to be free.